So I'm in myth challenging. I wanted to say myth busting, but there are so many people out there who think that I'm absolutely insane to suggest for a moment that there's any way of consistently beating the house advantage at casino games of chance that I have to kind of like moderate things a little bit. And as for this thing that's in front of you right now, since I'm appropriating somebody else's material, the very least I can do is provide a plug for his sponsors. But there are several myths that exist in the world of gambling, which I think are worth taking on. Over the years, as anybody who's been crazy enough to follow me throughout the blog over 10 years or more, and now this new channel, I use the word mythematics a lot because there's a lot of mythematics going on. And one of the great myths is that any bet, any bet of any kind that you place any time on any game is individually subject to exactly the same house advantage, which means that obviously whether you're betting 10,000 or 10 or 10,000 bucks or $10, you know the odds against you getting a win are whatever. And the truth is that when you actually look at the facts, you see that if you're betting strategically, progressively, pattern betting, whatever else you want to call it, the higher your bets get, the better your chances of winning. And that is an absolute fact, and I'm going to prove it. Okay, so this is somewhat experimental, but something that I think might be of interest to folks who are really interested in whether or not this whole idea of pattern betting actually works. What you're seeing here is I'm 57 rounds into the second of two virtual shoes that are offered on the B&B. I used to be in the B&B business. Um, yeah, number 872, shoe for virtual bet, as they call it, which is fair enough, somewhat eccentric English, but it works. The first shoe, 871, I picked purely at random, and it was fine, but it ended in a hang up. Let's have a look. If I can get this right. Um, yeah, at the beginning, turnaround was left, or pattern betting was left with a rollover of 2,300, which you can just about see over here. And bets were to a minimum. I mean, if you were at a big table, you would just be passing on each of these bets because Banker just had a run, as you can see, which went to 13 and was just ridiculous. Here, in this particular version, and this is not the full version of pattern betting. It's just a variation. It's a very effective one, but it's not the be all and end all. But basically, what happens is, you just wait until a win, and then you slam, hoping but not knowing, only hoping that you'll get two successive wins. And if you do, of course, you'll do very well. Um, uh, you can see here that a bet for 2,700 and something, 2,800 went down after a tiny bet or a no bet, and bang, it blew away the rollover and left a profit of nearly 500. Um, the interesting thing about this particular worksheet, I think, is that it's one of the ones where you can change the choice up the top. So if we go to banker, we see 6,775 at this point, but a commission of over £1,000 is due. Also, there was an exposure of 10,800, which was quite different than player. If we go back to putting player in, you'll see that player only had to go 3,450 into the bankroll to get out of trouble, and won 5,100. So yeah, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. If you look at the number of bets here, 63 banker wins, 65 player wins. So player actually had an advantage of 1.6% here. Back to banker though for just a moment. Banker did very nicely at 6,775, but had to pay over, or would have had to pay over, a commission of 1,135. Not the end of the world, it puts it ahead of player. Haven't tried AD yet, which is not Anno Domini, it's Avant Dernier. That does very nicely. It does better than anybody, actually, either player or banker. Coming out with 14.5% of the hold, an exposure about the same as players, and very, very much smaller commission due than banker. And that obviously is because banker is paying 5% on every win, whereas AD or wobble or WBL or whatever you want to call it, win before last, only has to pay commission if it nets a win on banker, and wins on player are not subject to the gouge. So that's how that goes. But the setup here, I think, is kind of interesting. I'm going to explore it some more, but I'm putting up a video about it because I'd love some input. And also, if anybody wants to suggest shoe numbers, go to the BNB simulation site. I'd prefer that you didn't cherry pick virtual shoes, because that's just unkind. But just pick a number. I don't know what the top number is. I'm at 872 right now. Just pick a shoe and send me the number, and I'll run it and see what happens. But it's not the ideal way of doing this, but it is unique, and it's kind of crept up on me because the folks at Baccarat Win Pro seem to think that, in spite of the publicity that I've given them in my blog and on the newborn YouTube channel, they want me to keep paying for access to their site, and I think that's a bit fucking cheeky, frankly. So I think, okay, to hell with them. We'll move on to a different method, which is equally valuable, I think, in many ways, because all of these shoes for virtual bet, they're all verifiable, and people can look and make sure that I'm not up to any jiggery pokery. But anyway, moving right along, we're at 57 right now, which was a player win. So if I click over here and then click back over here, number 58 is a player win. Hard to do actually here because I've got to have.
This is a reminder.
Alexa, shut up. Sorry about that. So 59 is banker, 60 is banker. You can see how the numbers change, sort of like Elizabeth Taylor eating at McDonald's. Remember that joke? Another banker, 81. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, 62. No, it's my eyesight. So 61, 62. Banker again. 63 is player. But the numbers at the top keep changing. We're on AD right now, but that's all right. I think actually that the wobble is not a bad way to go. I kind of like that. 64 and 65, I've lost it. So we had a player and a banker. I like the fact that they number the rounds so that I can catch up. The one problem I do have over here is that the ties are very hard to see. I might be colorblind, I don't know, but I can't see the difference between green and blue in a tiny setup like that. And I am able to double click on this and blow it up if I get into real trouble. But so what do we got? We got banker, 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 and a player on 69. Yeah, this particular program, this sim, seems to go to the end of the shoe because that's a banker. Because last time it dealt me 80 something. So that was a tie. That was a banker. It's kind of fun to do this though, don't you think? Because you can see, see my numbers changing up here. But I was kind of disgusted with Baccarat Win Pro. They're somewhere in Thailand, I think. Because I think that they owed me, but they didn't think so, though. So that's that. I think 73 was a banker again. I really don't like this green and blue thing. It really does muck me up. So that looks to me like, so 73 was red and then two ties and then a red. So we go back to, at least I can catch up. It is kind of difficult, but it's not the end of the world. What have we got? So we've got 73 was banker and then tie and tie and then banker, player, 79 was a banker. This is kind of, in many ways I like this more than I like the other system. So that's another tie, isn't it? Was that 81? No, I missed one. Hang about. Got a mess here. Sorry, folks, but this is how it is. Okay, so that was two ties. So banker, two ties, and then... All right. 79 banker, and then lots of ties all of a sudden, huh? And then a player. Did it just run out at 82? Not sure. Oh, that's terrible. 82. Oh God, I've lost it again. Sorry. So 79 was banker, then two ties, then player. Looks like 80, player. When anybody wants to help out with this anytime, I'd be very happy about it. Player, I think that's player and player again, isn't it? Let's put a double check, I guess. I guess there was another, oh no, there was a tie in there. So what do you think about this? I mean, this green and this blue, I mean, to me, that's really tough. Anyway, comments, observations, suggestions, be very happy about them. I suppose I better play this thing through to the end. What have I got? I've got, so there was a tie in the middle there. I got to tell you, the one thing that's infuriating about this thing over there is the number of ads. They're obviously making a fortune from ads. And now I've got to wait it out because I didn't notice what 85 was. Damn it.
Investment into our...
Do go away. Okay, so I've got to come back to here. 5, 5, 5, 2, 4. So the last one was a banker. All right, so let's just have a look and see what happens over on the other side. The other side. We just push all this over here and go like that. And then, so player came out, no, AD, wobble, whatever, came out very well. Player with no commission would be at 5,625, 14.3%. It went 3,450 into the bankroll. As you can see, that's over on the far left. Zero commission, of course. Player was at a disadvantage of 2.7% over the two shoes combined. And let's have a look and see what banker would have done. Banker was at 7,600 with 1,210 to pay, so that's 6,400. What was player? 5,625. And then AD squeaked 6,625. So I don't know. I think that we all need to pay a little closer attention to this this thing, the wobble, the bet before last, win before last. It looks kind of interesting, don't you think? Anyway, comments, suggestions, no insults if you don't mind, but otherwise anything constructive or helpful or an honest question, I'll do what I can.